Okay, I think what we may be seeing here with a couple of these answers is that there are words that, there's some words that, yeah, they could be roommates, they could get along together, but they're not necessarily synonymous. Okay, let's start out innocuous. How many of you would have known that at first sight? Okay, so let's practice that that was an unknown word to you. So let's just leave that one alone for the time being and move on to the next one. Okay, feasible. Everybody recognize that at first glance? From FAC in Latin is to do or to make. From the French, it's faisable. It made its way into German, which is strangely Fach is handwork, to do work by hand. So feasible, yeah, that's doable. Practicable. Now this is not exactly the same word as practical. Okay, practical is that's a sensible design. Practicable, because of the suffix, what does that mean? That turns it into meaning something that you could put into practice. That is something, that is a practice we could engage in. That is practicable. And that's a consistent, end root as an adjective to feasible, practicable. Let's compare the others to be sure. Minimal, that's not the same as feasible. Feasible is kind of neutral in whether it's a little change or a big change. Remedial, that really doesn't have anything to do with it. Benign, well, again, feasible is neutral. A surprise attack could be feasible, or a relief convoy could be feasible. So benign is without a doubt a positive thing. So that's not a good fit. And so we're pretty comfortable saying feasible and practicable are a good match. And then we go on to minimal. Does that match remedial? No. Does that match benign? No. Okay, does it match innocuous? Well, either you know it or you don't. But it doesn't seem like minimal is going to get to play in this game. And then we look at remedial. No, that's not the same thing as benign. Innocuous, again, we're trying to assume that you don't necessarily know what that means. But let's say no. And so innocuous and benign, no problem. We almost always use benign in the sense of, a growth. Is it cancerous or is it benign? But it also, can apply in any other sense. That the appearance of the UN peacekeepers on the site wasn't cause for any worry because their presence was benign. They were there to help or something like that. And so innocuous it just means they're harmless. And you can see the same roots in there as an inoculation. That is to prevent harm or ill from befalling somebody. But let's go back to pretend we weren't sure about that. Let's say we are sure of this pair, feasible and practicable. We're practicing making a decision based on very partial understanding. Let's see if feasible works in this sentence. Let's see. Caitlin, is your mic working? Are you there, Caitlin? Or not?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Could you read the sentence aloud, please, and try it out with feasible?
The plan, which the engineers said would save the aquifer by reducing pumping to feasible levels, has passed a governmental environmental review, but faces opposition from outdoor and environmental groups.
Okay, feasible is doable. Does that Well, first of all, does that seem like a home run? Like, absolutely, that's our winner.
It's not a home run, but it could work.
Okay, so then we'd have to go to the second tier. Let's say you were able to work out that innocuous and benign basically mean cause no harm. So whichever of those two words you find is one that you would use the most often in your daily speech, which one would you say it is?
Innocuous.
Okay, so let's try plugging that in and see if that makes more sense.
The plan, which the engineers said would save the aquifer by reducing pumping to innocuous levels, has passed governmental and environmental reviews but faces opposition from outdoor and environmental groups.
Okay. I guess they just don't agree with each other, the two different groups. But does that make logical sense, benign and innocuous?
Yes.
And then further, so in opposition to that are environmental groups. And would they be more opposed to something that was not feasible or something that was not innocuous?
Something that was not innocuous.
Okay, and so there we have further justification, further confidence that innocuous and benign are the two words that we pick for this.
Yes.
Okay. Do you find this process to be helpful or just roughly generally benign?
Helpful.
Okay, good.